Nu, a freilich and Chanukah, happy Chanukah to everyone. And this is one of the most joyous times of the entire year. We're told that the holiday of Chanukah, the lights of Chanukah, will continue to light also in the times of Mashiach. And this is one of the holidays, together with Purim, that will never be annulled. It will never be canceled out. Tonight's story is a very special story. It has a direct connection with the period of time that we find ourselves in. The time of, unfortunately, we're still in the ongoing war against the enemies of Am Yisrael in the south, and also, unfortunately, also in the north, and wherever they may be found in the world. But together with this, the story that we're going to hear tonight is not only connected to the period that we find ourselves in, and Hanukkah, obviously, because this miracle actually occurred a few days ago in Hanukkah, but also directly in other details is connected to Hanukkah and to the Geula. Recently, after the battle, the war has been renewed. There were outbreaks also in the northern border. I mean, there were outbreaks already from the beginning of the war, from October. But this brought about and led to the fact that we had to send in regiments of soldiers to be literally not only on the border, but also in Lebanon itself. And in Lebanon, there was a story that just happened now at the beginning of Hanukkah. There was a brigade of soldiers were camped in Lebanon, and there were. I mean, they have guard duty 24/7 because they have to make sure, first of all, that they themselves won't be attacked, and second of all, the main reason that they're there, that the soldiers are meant to make sure to stop any type of terrorist attack that wants to go and enter the Chas v'Shalom at the Holy Land and into Eretz Yisrael. And this is something that actually took place. We said in the beginning of Hanukkah. The people that were on guard duty were taken. They were taken to the and they were watching the the border from the inside, as we said, and all of a sudden they saw with their scopes, their night scopes, that there was movement. And apparently they saw movement of terrorists coming close, and they immediately opened fire. When they opened fire, they were shooting and shooting until they finally saw that there's no movement. And then came the second part. The second part is sometimes even more risky than the first. A group of soldiers is sent in order to go and to check the situation firsthand and to see that who is left, how many terrorists there were, and if there are any terrorists left to take them as prisoners. And so the head of this brigade went out with a handful of soldiers. They were all wearing protective vests, and when they came close to the place where they saw the movement, they saw that there were many trees. It was a thick forest, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, a swine, the low animals that go oink oink, the non-kosher animals ran right before them, and it ran from one side of the forest to the other side. Now, apparently, when this swine made such a noise going through and breaking the branches and running through, all of a sudden, from the place where they saw the movement, the terrorists stood up and they started shooting. They were alarmed because they heard the noise. The whole time after the shooting, they were lying down quiet, and they were afraid for their lives, and they also wanted to carry out their terrorist attack. In the meantime, this swine ran by, and it alarmed them. They jumped up and they started shooting because they thought that they were under attack from a very close distance. This immediately triggered the commander of the brigade, together with the group of soldiers, and they lied down and they opened fire, and they kept on shooting until these terrorists were dead. They were lying down and they weren't moving anymore. Then they came closer and they started to check each terrorist. There were 3 altogether, and they saw that they were armed to their teeth, literally, with all the unbelievable guns, ammunition, explosives, anti-tank missiles. And from the amount of weapons that they were carrying, they were able to understand what a miracle this in itself was, that they were able to stop these terrorists and kill them. Now, they were checking each terrorist one by one, and when they came to the 3rd terrorist, so there's a special soldier who is he's a bomb specialist. He wears not just a regular bulletproof vest, but he wears a ceramic vest. This vest is very hard to penetrate, and if there is chas v'sholom any bombs, so this vest stops the sharpenel from injuring him. So he was kneeling down by the 3rd terrorist, and as he's looking over the terrorist, turning him over, he hears a click. Now, what was the click? The click, apparently, the terrorist was able to go and to take the pin out of a remote, out of a hand grenade that he was carrying. And the only thing was, when he was shot, so the pin was out, but the spring was not loose. It was not let loose because he was lying down on the spring of the hand grenade. From the time that the hand grenade, the pin is taken out, if the spring isn't freed, the hand grenade won't blow up. When the bomb specialist heard the click, he immediately was able to hear that this was a click from a hand grenade. He shouted to all the group, "Grenade!" Everyone ran and lied down, and he was close. He tried to run as far as possible, but the grenade blew up. A lot of the sharpenel was stopped by the ceramic vest, but there was a piece of sharpenel that went and it entered between the front and the back of the vest, literally underneath the armpit. At the beginning, they thought that he was seriously injured, but again, Hashem made another miracle. And this bomb specialist, as he was taken back to the camp, in order to be taken care of and to be bandaged, they saw that some uncanny miracle. The sharpenel that entered didn't enter deep. It only made a skin wound, and they bandaged him up also. And Baruch Hashem, everything was okay. Afterwards, the commander of the brigade came to the soldiers, and he had within the brigade, he had quite a few observant soldiers, and he said, "Listen, He told these soldiers, it's been a long time since I set foot in a synagogue, in a shul, but I know that there's a blessing. He didn't even know the name of the blessing. I know there's a blessing that a person is supposed to recite by the reading of the Torah when he experienced a miracle, when a miracle has been done on his behalf. And I don't see any greater miracle than the one that I just saw now, that we were all saved. Even the bomb specialist was saved. And therefore, I'd like to, he said he woke up spiritually, and he would like to make the blessing. They told him the blessing is the blessing of Hagomel, thanking Hashem for the miracles. And since it's now Hanukkah, so it's not a problem, because every day of Hanukkah, the Torah is read. And so the next morning, he'll be able to go up to the Torah and he'll be able to say the blessing of Hagomel. Then one of the soldiers said to the commander, it's uncanny that this whole miracle happened in Hanukkah, because the miracle and how it happened is literally directly connected with the miracle of Hanukkah. The commander said, what do you mean by this? So he said, in the times of Hanukkah, so the Greeks, they went and they defiled the Beis Hamikdash, they defiled the temple. And how did they defile the temple? They brought in these unkosher animals, these swines. And in order to be able to go and to start the service and the inauguration from new of the temple, of the Mizbeach, of the altar, together with the lighting of the Chanuka menorah, the Beis Hamikdash had to be cleaned out, and it had from these defiled animals. And so this is exactly what happened in regard to the fact that your miracle that happened to you, also the miracle Hashem sent. What did Hashem send? A swine. And this is like the positive, the tikkun, the rectification of the holiday of Hanukkah, that the Beis Hamikdash was defiled by these animals. Hashem has sent that animal in order to save the lives of the commander and the soldiers. Then the same soldier went on and explained that this is exactly what it says in regard to, it says in the Talmud, in regard to the time of Mashiach. And the commander was even more surprised. He said, what, you have more miracles to tell us? And he says, well, maybe you can call it a miracle, but the Talmud says that when Mashiach comes, this same unpure animal, the Chazir, Osid lihi toer, is in the future, when Mashiach comes, is going to become a kosher animal. Even though now it only has split hooves, but it doesn't chew its cud, and it will become kosher immediately when Mashiach comes. According to one of the opinions, it says that the nature of the animal is that it'll start chewing its cud. And there are other explanations. We won't go into it now. So then the commander was hearing this, and he says, wow, there were so many miracles that are connected to Chanukkah, that are connected to Mashiach, to the redemption, to the Geula. He said, it seems to be that my whole arousal to say the blessing of Hagomel, to do tshuva, so to speak, it was aroused by what? By the same unkosher animal. And so another soldier said, well, that's exactly what we're talking about. The name of this animal in Hebrew is called Chazir. And the reason that it's called Chazir is because it is leosid yachzor vehi taher. It will return and it will be purified. So it's like a play on words, the commander said. The Chazir was machzir oti bitshuva. The same swine that ran past, it actually caused me to return to Hashem to do tshuva after so many years. I don't even remember when was the last time that I set foot in a shul. All of a sudden now, and he said tomorrow morning I'll be saying the blessing of Hagomel. Hashem should help us that since this is an instruction that the Rebbe gives us, and the instruction is specifically connected to the days of Chanuka, because the days of Chanuka, as we see here and behind me, we see the Chanuka lights. Tonight is the 5th night of Chanuka, and we have the 5 lights that are lit together with the Shamash, which is a little higher in back of me. The Rebbe says that the miracle of Chanuka and the mitzvah of Chanuka, one of the major mitzvahs is Pirsuma Nisa. Pirsuma, to publicize Nisa, the miracles. And this is exactly what the Rebbe says. Not only the miracle of Chanuka has to be publicized, but by publicizing any and every miracle that happened, and happens to each and every one of us, through going and telling the story and publicizing the miracle that Hashem has done for us, besides and in addition to the miracle of Chanuka, this speeds up and this brings closer, and this will bring immediately Bezrat Hashem. Now, the revelation of the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach, the third and the eternal Beis HaMikdash temple, and the true and the complete Geula, and we'll see the Kohen Gadol, or the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach, lighting the menorah in the Beis HaMikdash, in the temple. And it should be Teichef Umiyad, immediately now, with great happiness and joy of the heart, on a good and revealed basis, in a manner of peace and tranquility. And the main thing is, it should be Teichef Umiyad, immediately, in actuality, Mamish, Mamish, Mamish. Yechi Adonenu, Moreinu V'Rabbeinu, HaMelech HaMoshiach, Le'olam Voed.